everyone, my name is Ifeoma Imoh. I'm a freelance front-end developer and tech content creator. I also have a YouTube channel where I make videos on the fundamentals of JavaScript, so you can check that out if you're interested. Now today I'm going to be talking about concurrent rendering in React 18, and then I'm going to talk about one concurrent feature introduced in React 18, the StartTransition API. Now, as we know, React 18 was released in November last year with improvements to already existing features and some new and exciting features that enable concurrency in just the part of your application where you use these features. So the StartTransition API is one of the concurrent features, and we're going to see how concurrency is enabled in our application when we use this feature. But first, what is concurrency? So concurrency refers to having more than one task in progress at once or multiple computations happening simultaneously. And it doesn't necessarily mean, for example, if there are two tasks, it doesn't necessarily mean that it started at the same time, but concurrent tasks can overlap. Now, since JavaScript is synchronous and single-threaded, it can only do one thing at a time, right? So it executes on a single thread, and a current task running prevents the next one from running. So React is synchronous, and synchronous React can only do one thing at a time. Synchronous React can only handle one thing at a time. It processes updates synchronously, and an update cannot be interrupted once it has started. So if React is rendering an update and a user clicks a button, that click event will not be handled until React is done with what it's doing. And this isn't a good experience for the user, right? That click event will not be handled immediately because rendering cannot be interrupted once it has started. So subsequent events are blocked until that rendering is complete. And this approach is referred to as blocking rendering. Now, to fix this problem, concurrent mode was introduced in React 16, and that introduced interruptible rendering. So with concurrent mode, React can prioritize updates. We can tell React which update to treat as less priority. And this basically means that an ongoing update with a less priority can be interrupted by an update with a high priority. So this rendering behavior was introduced in React 16, and upgrading your app to React 16 would automatically turn on concurrent mode for your entire application. Now, in favor of a gradual adoption plan that allows you opt into concurrency at your own pace, concurrent mode is now being replaced in React 18 with concurrent features. So React 18 introduced some concurrent features that automatically enables concurrent rendering just in the part of your application where you use them, not in the entire application. Concurrent rendering in React 18 is only enabled when you use these concurrent features in just the specific part of your application. Now these features are called concurrent features, and the one I'm most excited about that we're going to be looking at today, like I said earlier, is the StartTransition API. Now, if a page has updates that take time and can block user interactions, making the page feel unresponsive. Now, these updates that take time can be due to slow network or slow rendering. The StartTransition API is an amazing solution for that. Now, StartTransition helps you keep your UI responsive by allowing you mark specific updates as transitions, and updates marked as transitions are called transition updates. They're not considered urgent. Now, previously, all updates in React were considered, all updates in React are still considered urgent, but in React 18, we can declare some state updates as non-urgent. Then React can switch between multiple updates according to priority. Now, an update that is considered a high priority can interrupt one with a low priority, even if the update with a low priority has already started. So now updates in React 18 can be grouped into two. We have urgent updates, and these are updates that show direct user interactions like scrolling, typing, clicking, and so on. So for example, if you're typing in an input field and you don't get immediate feedback, that is, the UI doesn't update as you type, it doesn't exactly feel right? So typing is an example of an urgent update. And then we have transition updates that have to do with changing UI views, and React doesn't treat transition updates as urgent, so transition updates are not urgent updates. Now, like I said earlier, React still treats all updates, even in React 18, React still treats all updates as urgent. But now to keep your page responsive or your app responsive, you can mark slow updates that may take some time as transitions by wrapping them in start transition so that they can be suspended or interrupted if an urgent update comes in. Let's say we have a search input field for filtering data. There are two important updates that needs to happen. The first is the value of the input field, and we know that that is an urgent update. The second is showing the search result, which isn't an urgent update. Now, we know that React still treats all updates as urgent, which means that if a user types something and React starts rendering the search result, if the user types in a few more characters, the user won't get feedback for that interaction, right? Now, until React is done with what it is currently rendering, the user won't get feedback for that interaction. And what if this takes some time? It means that on slower devices, it may even take more time. So the user is left with a page that is not responsive or lagging, which isn't very good. Now, there are common ways to work around this, like debouncing or throttling, but in React 18, we have the new StartTransition API. Now, with the StartTransition API, we can tell React which update shouldn't be a priority by wrapping that update in StartTransition. And when we do this, React just knows to deprioritize that update if an urgent update comes in while it's still rendering. So what does React do when it's in the middle of rendering a transition update and an urgent update comes in? Now, React will see that an urgent update was scheduled. In our case, that will be typing. It will stop working on that transition update. In our case, that will be rendering the search result. It will stop working on that and start rendering the urgent typing update, and then go back to rendering the search result when it's done. Now, because our user has typed in a few new characters, React cannot continue rendering the old result from where it stopped because the user is no longer interested in that old content, right? So React will skip that old work that wasn't finished and start rendering the latest update from the beginning. It will start rendering the search result from the beginning. This way, the user gets feedback while typing, the page always feels responsive, and React doesn't waste time rendering content that the user isn't interested in anymore, right? I mean, this is amazing, and it's only possible in React 18. Now, another really cool thing is React also lets you provide visual feedback during a state transition if, for example, the search result is taking some time to get back. And this can be done using the UseTransitionHook. Now, this hook returns a start transition function, that we can use to wrap our transition updates, as well as an isPending flag. Now, whenever an update wrapped in a transition is rendering, the value of isPending will be set to true. So you can use this flag. You can use this flag to reflect that something is happening in the background, or that, the search result in our case is taking some time, or that it isn't ready. You can use this flag to reflect that by maybe dimming the result or showing a spinner while the user waits for the result, which is really, really cool. Now, like I said earlier, the concurrent features in React 18 are opt-in. So all you need to do is upgrade to React 18 to start using the concurrent features in your application. Thank you so much for listening. My time is up, and I hope you have fun exploring the concurrent features in React 18. Bye!